Ken Trahan with Lenny Vangilder. It's our first NBC Bank weekend preview presented by First NBC Bank with 31 locations throughout the greater New Orleans area and South Louisiana. And it's a big weekend for sports, as you might imagine. First and foremost, the Saints' regular season schedule came out on Thursday. And, Lenny, I guess when you go 7-9, you would expect it might be a little bit lighter. It gets lighter in December. But when you have to play the NFC West, and San Francisco and Seattle, who may be the two best teams in the conference. If Atlanta's not, who you have to play twice, that's not an easy schedule.
It's not an easy schedule. I think based on last year's records, it's in the top three based on that. And you've got to play the AFC East, which is you've at least got New England in there. It was interesting. I said this back in December. As soon as Drew Brees' streak got snapped at 54 consecutive games with a touchdown pass, and Tom Brady was still going out there, Saints were going to New England. They are going to match them up just like what happened with the Saints and the Chargers last year. Brees got to break the record against his former team. I said Brady would get to break the record against the Saints. He's actually going to get a chance, if he's still got it going, to tie the record in the 6th week of the season. Yeah, the NFL knows what they're doing with those kind of things. The one thing that doesn't make sense to me is with all of these computers spitting out schedules and stuff like that, how is it you play the same team twice in the span of 15 days, as the Saints will do with the Carolina Panthers at the end of the year, Week 14 and Week 16? That doesn't make any sense to me. And it's also interesting to me, as many different variations as you get, is basically when you get around the end of November, you're going to see exactly the same schedule you saw last year. San Francisco at home on a late Sunday afternoon, followed by a Thursday night NFL Network game at Atlanta. Oh, by the way, Atlanta plays at Tampa Bay the day the Saints play San Francisco, which is exactly what they did last year. Can't they not come up with any other configurations out there? Who knows? But, those were the couple of things that caught my eye as I saw the schedule last night.
I think they just scanned it and used it again. That's all. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. I don't know. Of course, the draft next week, and that will draw a lot of attention. You can follow everything leading up to it here at sportsnola.com. 3-day process starting next Thursday. Zurich Classic begins with Pro-Am on Monday, another Pro-Am on Wednesday. The actual event starts on Thursday of next week. Read Jimi Hendrix' piece on a very interesting young 14-year-old at sportsnola.com. Of course, when it comes to college baseball, LSU ranked in the top 3 in the nation in every poll. Back on the road at Alabama this weekend, coming off of a good weekend series at Arkansas.
And this could basically put away the SEC West. If LSU can win 2 out of 3 this weekend at Alabama, I think it's basically over. It's unfortunate we don't get to see LSU and Vanderbilt play in the regular season. They are clearly the 2 best teams in the SEC at this point, but you play 10 SEC weekends. It's now 14 teams in the league, so there's 3 teams on the other side that you don't play. Vandy happens to be one of them. Who knows? We may get to see them in Omaha, the way it's going.
Oh, the Hornets season done. They're now the Pelicans. The rebranding took place immediately. It's now Pelicans.com, and everything is shifted color-wise and otherwise. Good night, Hornets. It was nice having you, and we'll see what happens down the road with that name with regards to Charlotte or anywhere else. But for now, we know that it's Pelicans moving forward. And moving forward, this team has to get better. They're going to get a lottery pick, and frankly, they're going to have to hit on it.
They are. And the thing about it, this is not as top-heavy a draft as it was last year. Interesting to see some of the guys who have chosen not to come out this year. Probably most significantly, Marcus Smart at Oklahoma State. He would have been a guy who would have been gone by the time the Hornets pick, assuming they end up at 5 and 6 and don't jump up into the top 3. But where, if you've got that top 6 pick, where is it that you're going? What is the most pressing need for this team? Is it point guard? Is it small forward? Do you just pick the best guy available? We got 2 months to hash that one out, but still, it'll be interesting discussion.
Certainly will be. Voodoo back in action tonight, Friday night, against Pittsburgh. And it's interesting because Pittsburgh brings to town Derek Stingley, the former Voodoo coach, former Voodoo record setter P.J. Berry, former Voodoo offensive lineman Davern Geralds, former Voodoo all-league linebacker Alvin Ray Jackson, and, of course, former Trahan and LSU quarterback Jordan Jefferson. Final home game in the arena, 7:30 start. Interesting game because of those reasons I mentioned.
Yeah, and I don't think Pittsburgh's going to get shut out like the last time Jordan Jefferson took the field in New Orleans. So
they are the lowest scoring team in the AFL, by the way.
But this is arena football where it's like a game of pinball out there. A video game. The way the points go on the board. So. Interesting, and it is the last game, and this will be the last event in the arena before it's shut down for renovations. Then the Voodoo moves across the street for the rest of the home schedule to the Dome, and that'll be kind of old home time, so to speak. Of course, the New Orleans Knight played there 20 years ago, as you and I both remember. I was in the press box, you were in the broadcast booth, so it was an interesting time. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out and how that is how it's received by the New Orleans public.
And we'll see what happens. And, of course, these are the two lowest scoring teams in arena football, so we'll see what gives tonight. And then the Zephyrs concluding a homestand. Hitting has been the issue. They just haven't scored enough runs. They've been shut out 3 times this year.
Yeah, it's early. Supposedly the pitching's going to be ahead of the hitting early on in the year, and it will, ideally it will round into form. The Zephyrs adding an arm in the bullpen, and David Ardsma. We mentioned that might happen earlier in the week, and indeed he was activated on Tuesday. So. Those things run in cycles this time of year, especially when you play every day in baseball.
Look forward to another great sports weekend, another great sports week to come with the Zurich Classic, the NFL Draft, and much more next week. Lenny, have a great weekend.
All right, you too.
All right, for Lenny, I'm Kenny. Glad you've joined us for First NBC Bank. Go out and check them out. If you're not at First NBC Bank now, move your business there. They'll do the job for you. Thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend, and God bless you.